Welcome to the second episode of the Cork Creative Podcast. We have started this podcast to provide all the wonderful people working imaginatively and innovating in the creative arts and in business a platform to discuss their journey to now, plans for the future and lessons learned. If you would like to learn more, please visit corkcreative.ie. I am Patrick Hiley, your host. I am the founder of Flux Learning, a digital education company proudly situated in Clonakilty, County Cork, where I live and work. Moving along to who we actually want to hear from, I am delighted to be joined by Aidan O Regan. A Clonakilty native, partner to Michelle, father and a freshly minted grandfather, frontline worker at Bushmount Nursing Home and renowned West Cork artist. We will discuss the obvious challenges presented by the pandemic, but also importantly lessons learned and plans for 2021 and beyond. Aidan's career, his motivation, approach and inspiration will also be topics of discussion. And you're very welcome to Creative Cork, Aidan.
Hello.
So I suppose, Aidan, for the first question, and it can't really be avoided, we'll address it straight away and get it out of the way, I suppose. So how was your 2020? Personally, as a carer in Bushmount and as an artist in West Cork, how was your 2020 and how has your 2021 been to date?
Well, 2020, as a carer in Bushmount, it was a very unusual year. We were probably put in a very uncomfortable position from get-go because we were lucky actually because Bushmount actually locked down about a week earlier than any of the other hospitals or whatever. So we actually managed to stay COVID-free all the way through and remain so. It's been very difficult on families, whatever. But I work in the dementia unit, and at the best of times, family have a difficult time because obviously they feel a sense of guilt because their loved ones are in a home. On top of that, when they can't come and see them, it's very, very difficult for them. We've a year of that done. We get tested. We get tested every second week, which is an experience, I can tell you. Getting something shoved up your nose and back your throat is not nice. But look, we have to do it. Like, we actually got vaccinated about 10 days ago, and we're due the next vaccine probably in 2 or 3 weeks' time. Like, so, but as I say, it's the families. It's been very difficult them not being able to see their loved ones, as I say. As an artist, it's actually been a great year, surprisingly, because of the fact that probably people haven't been able to go on holidays. They haven't been able to go to restaurants. So they're looking at their own homes, they're looking at their own houses, they look at their own walls, and they've decided to buy art. They came to me. I was absolutely delighted. I couldn't believe how busy we were. We had a show at the end of 2019 there, and it went really well. And we were humming and hawing about whether we'd keep the space on or not. We decided we would keep the space on until Christmas, and that worked out well. And we said we'd keep it on for the year. And obviously things happened in February, March, April, and things got turned upside down. But no, I have to say it was a fantastic year. Michelle, my wife, is a shop in the main street in Clon, and she had a really busy year as well. So as I said, Pat, we can't complain. It was really good. People had fantastic gardens, bird watching, and they bought art. I was delighted.
No, it's great to hear, and I mean it's great to hear that there's a silver lining to what was a particularly dark cloud in 2020.
Yeah.
And I can testify to the fact that looking at the four walls, it's certainly a lot of people uncovered their inner interior designer, I'm sure. And your artwork was first and foremost on their list of acquisitions.
I was there waiting for them.
I suppose, and this is something I'm always fascinated by. I mean, how did you get into art in the first instance, and what or who were your inspirations? So how?
As a young fella, there's absolutely no background whatsoever in art in my family, as far as I'm aware. My dad was very musical. He was a great singer, and he probably pushed me into, like, I learned tin whistle at school. I got lessons to do the piano, accordion. I was useless at both. Like, I love sport. It was hurling was I was down the J pitch constantly. Like, and art, I doodled a bit, like as any young fella would. I remember in I think 5th or 6th class, I won a competition for the best Christmas card. I won £5. I was absolutely delighted with myself. After that, and then I suppose for some reason I took an interest in calligraphy. in my late teens, and I used to paint family crest. You know the family crest or
Sure, yeah.
heraldry stuff. I was for crest for families and stuff, and I used to write the history of the family underneath in calligraphy. And then it wasn't until, God, I suppose I worked in a asylum seeker centre, and at night I worked during the night, and there I started doodling and painting away again a bit at night time because I had nothing else to do. And then I met my wife Michelle, and she said, "You have something." Like she said, "There's something in what you're doing here, and you should kind of pursue it a bit more." So she had a small gift shop in Ash Street at the time, and I think we had two small shows, one year after the other, and they both went reasonably okay. I got a bit of confidence from it then, and then in the early 2000s, I suppose there was a Mark Buckley. I don't know if you know Mark Buckley, but he opened the gallery in Clonakilty, and I kind of we had a show in 2006. My confidence was off the building with it. I started doing bigger pieces, and it was in the middle of the boom at the time, and we sold out on the night. Every single painting that I painted sold, and I was freaked out completely by it. Um, I I kind of concentrated on art full time then for a little bit after that, and it actually got too much for me. There was agents getting involved, and I was paintings were going to Dublin, they were going to Kerry. There was a bit of interest from abroad, and I actually just didn't like it. It wasn't fun anymore. I had to rely on it for a full time income and the pressure of it just got to me. And and then the crash came, and it kind of it came in coincidence with my son Tom being born, and between the two of us, I decided to stay at home with Tom. And we were running two businesses at the time, and it was just too difficult. And Michelle's shop was going well at the time, and we decided that I'd stay at home with him. So I kind of stopped painting for a bit then. But I suppose, yeah, the inspirations are there. Like Michelle was my biggest inspiration, to be honest with you. Her size 5 boot up my arse for for a reasonable period of time did wonders. Like
a powerful motivator.
Yeah, powerful motivator. So yeah, that's where she's my biggest inspiration. I'd be lying if I said it otherwise. Like, you know.
I know, fair enough. And aside from the very proximate and necessary motivation from Michelle, who, I suppose, in terms of artistic, not inspiration, but I suppose, do you have a particular, would you liken your style to anyone that you'd pay attention to in the artistic world? Or if you were to describe your art and your approach to those listening who may not be familiar with your work, what would you compare it to, or how would you describe it?
I suppose I describe myself as a colorist, really. Like I like just matching colors, using movement, and there's definitely elements of kind of landscape and the coast and where we live in it. But some people didn't see kind of space, like, and flipping planets and all that kind of stuff. But I kind of let the buyer, hopefully at the end of the day, to make the decision what they see in it. I just go with that, like, you know. It works. I used to tell people, oh, that's you know, they say, oh, that looks like in Shadon, it looks like the fields, the hills, rolling hills in Artfield, and I kind of agree with them, like, but I pure lies, pure lies. Like where we live, I'm definitely inspired by, like, I like to go running out around the coast, and like, it is beautiful where we are, so I do soak it all up. Like, it must go in summer, like, and then it's like it comes out hopefully on the canvas after, like. But as far as how I describe myself, I'd say kind of I suppose abstract landscape artist is probably the closest to it, like.
And I don't want to necessarily pigeonhole you, and I know that for one, I'm fortunate enough to have a couple of your works in our house, and I see different things in them.
Did you pay for them?
Oh, of course. Someone did. But I definitely see different things in them at different points. That you catch them at a particular sideways glance, or you look at them in a slightly different way, and I see something else in them from time to time, I'd have to say. So I mean, that's a very, very good description you've given. And I suppose what I've been I'm curious about as well is, I suppose, the innovation that you build into that art then, in that it is not, again, to pigeonhole it, but it's abstract landscape. And I suppose the innovation that you do within the colours that you use and within your approach to small canvas versus large canvas. And then I suppose we'll follow on with a question about your print portfolio and how that has developed now in a moment as well. But I suppose, how do you constantly innovate? How do you keep on refreshing your, I suppose, your methodology or your approach?
It's actually through mental blocks. Actually, there's a thing called artistic block. I know it sounds a bit faffy, like, but you do get it. You do get it every now and again. I'm actually just after coming out of one recently, and it's like, again, it's a first world problem, but it's very, very frustrating because you could spend just weeks and weeks, and you're not getting anywhere. Like, you're not just what you're doing, what you haven't been doing, whether it gets boring in my own brain, and I'm finding I can't move forward with it. What happens? I just have to try something completely different and be a bit brave and take a risk, and that's as well how it probably evolves. And you try, hopefully, you get better. Like, the prints is actually is something that I only started doing about 3 or 4 years ago. It's actually probably a turning point as far as making a living out of the whole thing is concerned, because you can, like, you paint a painting, it's done, it's finished, you sell it fairly quickly, hopefully, and then it's gone, like, and you can't see it again, more than likely, and you can never get inspiration from that painting again because someone else has it. It's hanging in someone else's house. So we started doing prints, Strand Framing, which is local wholesale farmers. They do fantastic printing as well. They do G-clay prints, which are kind of, they're top quality. And I started doing, I get the frames off them as well. Like, so it works great that I can get both the prints and the frames off them. And so started doing that maybe 3 years ago. So that's an extra income, a completely separate income almost to the actual original paintings themselves. Because you can do, like, I do limited editions of maybe 50 each in 2 different sizes, and they just tip away. So when things aren't flowing naturally as an artist, I'm still framing these up, and they're selling away constantly. And they'll be selling each one. I could get a 10-year span out of them, like, depending on how popular they are.
I suppose it's that kind of passive income that you're kind of hoping for, that it's something, as you said, that it sustains you through the peaks and the troughs.
Yeah, and you don't panic like as much, because they tip away kind of 10 months of the year, like, really, like, that's great.
And you mentioned already the tremendous success that you had with the art exhibition in October 2019. So I suppose, how did this inform your decision to open up your gallery on a permanent basis, and how have you found that in 2020?
Again, if we knew the year that we were going to have, I might have had second thoughts about it, because we still have 2 reasonably young children, and Michelle has a thriving business herself on the main street. We had taken the space on in October. We said we'd just keep it until Christmas, and the conversation was that I wasn't 100% on doing it, and it was Michelle convinced me. She said, "You got to go for it." She said, "It's a great space where we are. Just give it a go, and try it for a year. And if it doesn't work out, you can just." There was no pressure as far as contracts with rents or anything like that were concerned. So the landlords were very good. But it was great. As I said already, it was a great year. We couldn't have. I don't even know if we would have had as good a year if COVID hadn't happened. Like, which sounds a bit. Like, there's a lot of people have found it a very difficult year. So you're kind of very slow to tell people that we did have a great year. But yeah, so.
But I suppose the year has had there's a certain dichotomy to your year as well, in that you've had a year with distinctly more stress, and there's been a lot more stress inherent in the work in Bushmount versus the professional success then you've had with your artistic career during 2020 as well. So it's the two.
It's unprecedented. Like, we've never, we can't even talk to people that have gone through it. It's something that there's no wise men out there tell us that this is how you deal with it or this is how you get through it. Like, but hopefully we're coming towards the end of it now, and and hopefully by the summer things will start, the bright shoots will start appearing again, and there'll be a bit more confidence, and we can meet up with people. Like that's the other thing about Bushman, it's my only out, like, because when I'm working, I'm on my own all day. At the moment anyway. I'm lucky I can still go to work and go to the garage and close the door behind me and drive on and listen to the music and have the odd glass of wine, which is savage, you know. And
it's all part of the process.
Sometimes until you think, so there's when the glass turns into a bottle and you think you're a complete genius in the evening, and then you wake up in the morning or you have a look at it again in the morning. That's pure tripe.
All part of the process.
all part of the process.
Have you found having the store as not just a gallery but your studio? Have you found that space to be important as a space where you can work, as in to work on your own and to kind of shut the door behind you, as you said?
It was a strange one because obviously when we had the show in October and it went well, those people come in for the first couple of weeks and it was kind of it was busy up till Christmas with the prints. But obviously in January then I had a double problem. I needed to paint more stuff and it was quieter. It was cold, and it was only then we kind of decided I'd have to turn it into a studio as well. And then I was very nervous about that because I just didn't know how that would work as far as people coming in and looking through the window. But it actually was the complete opposite to what I thought it would be. I thought I'd feel like a bit of a monkey in a zoo or something, because the windows where I am are big and they're open and you can see me work away. But I realised how actually chatting with people and they give you encouragement and they give you a bit of a boost, like, and they give you sometimes you don't realise you're bogged down in a painting, and it's actually when someone comes in and just breaks the whole thing up and they have a chat with you, and then you go back and you're a little bit fresher 5 minutes later. Do you know the way in anything we do? Do you know, if you take a break from anything and you come back a couple of minutes later, it always, you have a fresh outlook on it, and that's why it's happened. Like I've been forced into that happening, like, and it's actually worked out really well, like, and people come in to tell you, like, we all love being told we're great, like, whether they're lying or not, but no one is going to come in and tell you that you're crap. They're not going to come in off the street and tell you you're useless. What are you doing, like?
But I think that people will respond positively to, I suppose, seeing it come together, seeing the art and seeing the process that you undertake, seeing what you're doing.
They might call in the morning and I might be so far with a painting, and then they might call maybe a day later or 2 days later, and they see it evolving into something, and like it's a bit of fun. It's a bit of fun for them as well, like, and I do get a buzz of it. Like even my boys' class, they're 12. They were in sixth class last year. The sixth class in Wales. So the teachers asked me could they come down and visit for a day. And I was a bit nervous. Again, I thought, this is going to be, like I thought, they said they'd be about half an hour in there or whatever. But they came down and the questions were, the kids are honest, like they're straight up. They don't, they're not into the poncy stuff, like, so they just ask you straight honest questions. And they were there for an hour and a half. I was buzzing after, like, it was a great experience, genuine, straight questions, and loved it. So, yeah.
Do you think that there's it was something that you'd entertain doing more of, sort of a kind of a teaching or a kind of an outreach component to go alongside the art?
It's probably it's something I might need, because I'm completely self-taught, which is a good thing and a bad thing, because it's kind of technically I probably lack in certain areas because I've never been taught how to do it. But then, like, the whole idea of art is for it to be kind of different anyway, and you're trying to break boundaries to be good, so if you're not being shown by a tutor or whatever, I'm sure you're being guided in a certain direction. I think there's a good thing in that, like, but
and sometimes your expertise sometimes stems from knowing that you don't know everything. You know, I mean, it's often the people who know the most that are most self-conscious about what they don't know.
Oh God, isn't that so true? Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, that's something that we might consider in the future, you know. But just try and, I think this year now we'll just try and survive, keep her going.
Well, I mean, hopefully, and your website certainly speaks to this, and I'll include links to the website, of course, in the podcast notes and on the website. But it speaks to you taking inspiration from nature and seasonal colours, and you're going to be hopefully availing of the opportunity to do that when we move away from the winter greys and we move back into something a little bit more colourful with spring and summer again this year.
It's something that I don't constantly kind of change. It just happens with my mood and with obviously the colours that are out there, like, you know. And you know, I like running and walking, and I can't, like, if someone asked me to take a photograph of something and I had to paint it, I find it very difficult. Actually, the last painting I put up on my Facebook page, there was a girl took a photo that kind of inspired me, and I did something that vaguely resembled it, but that's actually the first time I've ever managed to do that. I feel too strict on myself or whatever.
You feel too constrained to do something like that.
Too constrained, exactly, to be able to do it. But for whatever reason, I managed to do it on the last paint I finished now, and that was generally the first time I've ever worked from a photograph.
Okay, and it would be something you'd entertain the prospect of doing again, or was it something that you challenged yourself to do this time?
I kind of challenged myself to do it, and maybe I haven't done it in maybe 5 years, and maybe technically I may have improved in those years to be able to do that. But I definitely 4 or 5 years ago I couldn't have done it. I wouldn't have been able to transfer one to the other, you know.
Sure.
So
that's great to hear.
That was a nice step forward.
Great.
Sure.
Preempting other questions I had. And I'm very conscious of this as well, kind of as I dabble in entrepreneurship in West Cork, but it's very important to have kind of supportive peer groups and networks around you, and I think there's many of those in West Cork. And I mean, have you found these to be a support, or a particularly important support, especially during the last year, or how have you found that support network in Clonakilty and West Cork?
Well, I'm a member there of the Chamber of Commerce. They've been fantastic, like, you know. They just between promotional videos, and actually last year they did this Clonakilty voucher scheme, which I'm not sure if you know about or not, but it's just vote there. I think they have dominations of 20 and 50, 10, 20, 50 Clonakilty vouchers, where you just spend that in business in the town. And last year they had an incentive voucher scheme where if you bought 50 euros of vouchers, you got 60 euros worth. So if you paid 50 euros, you got 60 euros worth of vouchers. So they give you, I think that's 20% on top of.
Sure.
And to spend back in the town. But
nice incentive.
It's great incentive, and I got a load of people coming back to me with these vouchers, like, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And as business, they reimburse you for them if you want to hand them into the chamber themselves. But what's happening is very few of them are coming back. Seemingly, they're just constantly being moved around the town, like, you know. So the other thing was there was a Clonakilty artist trail as well. I think Lisa, she's a girl there she's a little business there, a little gift shop on the main street, on Ash Street, little green dot. She's a Clonakilty artist trail as well. So I think that was a good thing as well.
But the larger, I suppose, one thing I like about Clon is there's always something going on. Well, during pre-COVID times, there was always something going on. But there was, you always had events, and yourself and Michelle were very much front and centre at all of those events. And
but it was great fun, like, you know. And Clonakilty is a great town because they support their own, and as well as supporting their own, they'll support people coming into the town. If you've got a good idea and you're willing to work hard, the town will get behind you, and it's as simple as that, you know.
Yeah, and there's a lot to be said for that, indeed.
A lot to be said for it. You know?
So you've spoken already, Aidan, about artist block, and I can imagine that being an artist requires a lot of resilience. You've got those creative block issues, and I suppose then you have the ebb and flow of sales, which I know you've you've deployed prints as a way of kind of bridging that gap to some extent. But I suppose, is the personal resilience that comes from your chosen profession, and indeed in bushmount and archery, is that something that you have to actively work on, or is it something that you found you had you had an innate reservoir of from the jump?
No, I did absolutely not. It's something I had to go through. As I mentioned earlier, when in 2006 or 7, after the show and it being busy, I I struggled after it. I struggled to kind of creatively. I struggled because had been so busy, and then there was from the high to the fall after of having to start from scratch again because all the paintings were sold, and then having to pressure on from people looking for stuff. I found it very difficult, and inside my own head, it completely hindered my creativity. Like, and I didn't paint anything for about a year after. I just had to stop and walk away from it.
Mm-hmm.
And the longer you go away from it, then the harder it comes back. It is to get back, because even you have the fear when you get back to doing it that if you still can't do it, then that's worse again. Like, you know.
Sure.
But I have definitely learned over the years through the experience of knowing of just getting through it, that it will change. You will just keep going, be disciplined about working the whatever 3, 4, 5 hours a day, take the breaks, and just get into a routine of doing that. Mm-hmm. And don't get it's actually in moments of, I know it sounds a bit corny, but in the moments of desperation, you do find inspiration sometimes. Mm-hmm. And it actually happens when I'm at my lowest ebb as far as art is concerned. Something happens. Just you get brave. You try something completely different, and then you see it. Sometimes it's not actually what you're painting; it's actually being able to see what you're painting. Because I'm sure even through a lot of the blocks, I might be doing stuff that's reasonably good or as good as I'd normally be doing it, but I can't see it myself. Like, it's through my own eyes. I'm failing to see the quality in it. And but it's just experience. It's a kid. You got to keep going, work your way through it. Like, for anything to be good, like, it has to be difficult. You know, that goes
sure.
across any profession or anything we do in life. Like, you don't get proper enjoyment out of anything unless it's hard. You know, and we're all guilty of trying to stay inside a comfort zone as well. You know, it's easy to stay there sometimes, and if you can try and move out of that, there's a great buzz in it, you know.
Yeah.
You know,
we want to be learning.
Even doing things like this, like, you know, I wouldn't find it comfortable, but you have to try and do these things, you know. So
the audience would never know. Fair play to you. Yeah. A natural. An artist podcast is something for 2021.
Thank you.
And I suppose, which leads us on nicely to, what would your plans for 2021 be? What do you hope to do and hope to achieve this year, Aidan?
In my brain, like, if it's anything as good as last year, I'll be very happy. Whether I think Clonakilty is going to be, I think we're going to have the same issues last year. I don't think people are going to be, whether they're low travel or they can travel. I think they're still going to be traveling within their own counties to degrees, and then probably within their own country anyway. Like, you know, so I think it's still Clonakilty is a great place to visit. It's you know, we're famed for everything, really. There isn't too many things we're not famed for. So I'm hoping that to have as good a year, or as close to as good a year this year as I had last year. And yeah, we're trying to put an extension onto our house at home as well at the same time. So yeah, I've that to kind of, there'll be a bit of mullicking involved in that, I'd say, as well. So I try to combine those two things.
Never a dull moment or a pause for thought.
No, indeed. So, creativity and mullicking, yeah. One is good for the other, I think.
And I suppose, I mean, this is a question which is inevitably going to interrupt the flow a little bit, and it speaks to my own bent in that I suppose I would work in online learning and technology quite a bit, but is there a piece of technology that you could not live without, and why would that?
Well, I only have one piece of technology, would you believe that? No, that's the phone.
And are you is it Android or Apple with your good self?
I've Android. I do know that. I'm glad I knew the answer to the question. I have a Galaxy A50. Yeah, that's her. She's been battered. She's battered and bruised, but she's going strong. But the only thing, like Facebook is massive for me, like, you know. I don't like it as a thing because it's like I have a personal page and I have an art page, but I can put something up on, like, I can put a painting up on Facebook of an evening, and it can be sold either that night or the morning after. Someone saying, "Oh, hang on to it, I need to come in and have a look." And like, as a forum, like, if I can reach like 3, 4, 5,000 people, like with one, like, one message out there, like, you know. So it's brilliant. Like, I should probably get into Instagram and stuff a bit more. I'm told that's nearly a
It would
better form.
definitely speak to your particular milieu. Yeah, it's very image focused for sure. But I mean,
I'm told
all in due course.
Yeah, all in due course.
Another plan for 2021.
Yeah, my stepdaughter in England, Michelle's daughter, is she's taking care of all that kind of side of things now. So I just send images on to her. She does everything else. She presses all the magic buttons. So
is that where your very elegant website came from too, or?
Yes. Well, Michelle actually designed the website herself, and then so now she's too busy to be holding my hand anymore. So I've got I sent it across the water.
Outsourced.
Yeah. Well, she's at home with a new grandson there that arrived there in the middle of last year.
Heartiest congratulations there. Very good news in 2020. Very off-brand for 2020.
Oh my God, it was I was pops for a while before I got transferred to granddad. I couldn't deal with it. Like, I'm still trying to figure it out. I'm still trying to figure out how to be a dad. The granddad thing but they managed to get over in November for a month. We had to do self-isolate for 2 weeks, but it was fantastic. I was changing nappies with one hand because of the experience. It was glorious. We had an early Christmas present. So, yeah.
I suppose I've one and final question for you today, Aidan, and thanks as ever for your candour. But I suppose what advice would you give to aspiring artists who'd be listening here and are thinking about following your footsteps?
Well, I suppose I'm self-taught. I've been painting for 20 years. It's taken a long time for me to reach the level that I'm at now. I know actually it's just the last year or two I can make a reasonable living out of it. You can't just go into it and expect to make money straight away. Like, you have to kind of work at something else. Like, it has to be a sideline to start and continue to work hard at it. You got to take the knocks. People are going to tell you you're crap, like, or whatever. Especially now with social media, like, you know, people are welcome to say anything. The other thing about it is framing is a desperate expense for artists. With good reason, like, you know, it's. I worked as a picture framer years ago. It takes a long time to put a piece of art together. But what I do is I buy my frame. I work to certain sizes. I buy my frames in bulk, the same size, and I put them together myself. You're saving so much money by being able to do that, and you can actually get more stuff out there than properly framed. A little bit of knowledge as far in the framing side of things is worth an awful lot. And yeah, you got to work hard. That's all.
Oh, indeed.
I've been lucky as well, Patrick, because for years I had Michelle's shop. Michelle has a shop on a gift shop on the main street in Clongilty, and she put my stuff in the window there, and only for that, you know, I couldn't have got my name out there. You know, it's that was I was, and that's luck. You know, that's luck, because if I didn't have that, I might be still pucking spuds to ducks, as I say. You know, it's so you need luck. You need a bit of luck as well. You know. And I still feel I'm always starting out. I doubt myself constantly, and that's great motivator. When you're self-taught, you always feel that you could be better. And like a lot of my friends there now, they're like, I'm 50 this year now, and a lot of my friends.
You wear it well, sir.
Thank you. But they're all talking. Some of them were talking about winding down, and geez, I feel I'm only starting out, to a degree. I feel like that, but maybe that's because they all worked hard in their 20s and their 30s, and they're tired. Where I pissed around for 20 years, like, and it's probably the last 10, 15 years I've really started to apply myself to work. Kids will do that, feel like,
They are a powerful motivator, but by the same point, you've found something that motivates you too, and sometimes it's a search to find that particular thing.
Oh, absolutely! Like, I love going to work every day, and you gotta love it. Like, there's no point in trying to do, especially something in the arts. Like, if you don't love it, it'll drive you mad. But like when I'm painting, when I've the music on, I'm dancing around the place. I'm firing the paint onto the canvas. To be able to transfer that emotion that, like, when we were young, we used, you'd have a few pints and you go for a dance. Like, I can paint and transfer that same kind of emotion as you would from dancing, like, to painting a picture. Like, that's fantastic, buzz. Like, there's no drug that give you that.
No, that's fair enough. I think my wife would argue that it's as well off that I don't transfer any of my limited dancing skills to any kind of canvas. But no, I appreciate the point from a more skilled dancer such as yourself.
Oh, I don't know about skilled, God almighty.
Thanks so much for your time, Aidan. It's been an education for me, and I hope it's been an education for the Cork Creative listeners. If you want to find out more about Aidan, links to his website, and which includes images of his paintings and of his prints, will be in the show notes. Thanks a million for your time, Aidan.
Thanks, Patrick. Cheers.